Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Alexandra again, and welcome to World Woman Agenda. We are almost at the end, but not at the end yet. So more talk and more perspective and more interesting guests. And I will be a host, and I have a pleasure to talk to Christina Korp, President of Purpose Entertainment. Please, Christina, welcome on stage. Mayra Genovese, founder and CEO of MGM Power. Mayra, come on to stage. And Joss Fong, independent video journalist and YouTuber with a focus on science, communication, and social equity. And last but not least, Roxana Turysek-Gedir, Polish banker and artist. Welcome. Don't worry, somebody will give me a chair. You know, if you don't have a place at the table, bring a folding chair. You remember the quote. So guys, I'm a journalist. My name is Aleksandra Karasińska. I come from Poland. I am a feminist and women's rights activist and a director of Ringier Axel Springer Foundation. I want to, make things more lively and tell you that as a journalist, I try to, although I'm very busy today, but I try to, be in the loop with the news. So I knew that Trump is going to be on Davos on live. He just finished, so I was watching, and I decided to make things, more exciting, and change a bit questions. So I start with this, with a quote, and I ask you to give your thoughts, because the questions that I was supposed to ask you were achieving gender parity, lessons from fostering diversity, women empowerment, and changing narrative about gender, inclusivity. So all these words. And the quote I wrote down during the President of United States speech here in Davos was, he was talking about taking action in US to abolish, quote, all discriminatory diversity, equity, inclusion nonsense. There are two genders policy in US, male and female, quote. End of quote. Your thoughts?
Wow. I read that as well a few minutes ago. And as a, female founder, CEO, mother, and having an agency, global agency, that all we do is creating strategy and brand advertising on social media, but also out of home for big brands around fashion, beauty, technology. It's scary to think that what the impact will be on that quote as well when we create advertising creative, right? Because the most important thing, especially on the industry of creative that we're going to be discussing here, the creative economy, is that the voice that we can be used through campaigns on social and out of home, where we can use diverse and then where we can have gender equality. So it scares me a little bit what the impact on the creative economy will be, because if she's kind of, saying that there's no sense.
Okay, so you said the word scary. I will tell you, do not despair. We are together. Is it a good? Yeah, and this is all about. I think, it is interesting, but we are here together and we are discussing the things that we like to discuss. Oksana, is it a good time, exactly this time, to talk about equality and gender diversity and progress?
I thought we would be talking about creativity and how it can heal us. And I brought the piece of art here, which is one of my Aurea collection. And it's really what it is. It's the world without borders, and it's a bit broken. It's fragile. And there is a beautiful Japanese philosophy of kintsugi, golden repair. So when you break an object, rather than throwing it away, you piece it together with gold. So in a way, there's so many challenges, and this is my artistic vision of healing the world. And look, we will have the challenges every day, but I do think that you just continue and I have very much in my journey decided to focus on the solutions and what we can do and really just getting stuff done. So I believe that through art we can heal and really just focus on positive solutions.
Thank you, Roxana. That was very beautiful metaphor. Maybe Christina would like to add something.
Yeah, because I'm the American on the stage, right?
Oh, we are with you, sister.
Well, look, I will tell you something that's probably going to be kind of shocking to some people. So first of all, for those of you who may not know, I manage astronauts. And I managed Apollo 11 astronaut Buzz Aldrin and his company and foundation for 12 years. And often I was the only woman in the room with the Apollo astronauts. And I've met all the pioneers, women pioneers. The first woman to work in mission control, Kennedy Space Center, all these things. Now, I will tell you, all of them are pretty stubborn women who I would say would tell other women to come on, quit being a big baby. And so it's interesting. In space, we kind of have this magic sauce. I don't know what it is. But most of the NASA centers in America are run by women. Mission control is run by women. So we're already kind of figured out, I think, what's working really, really well. And I work really equally with male astronauts, female astronauts. And like you, the reason I was excited to be here too, of course, is because I do a lot of art projects all over the world to unite people in a very positive way of bringing people together. And I think, focusing on what Trump says and then what's out in the real world, I think you have to do what you can do as a person. And I am very, very conscious of including all kinds of people. Sometimes I've been on panels, and I was on a panel where I was on stage with 3 female astronauts last year. And there was a man who came and said, okay, what do you think about doing all queer events? And we all looked at each other and said, why can't we just have everybody in the room? And I think he was expecting us to say, yeah, that's a great idea. And the astronauts are kind of like what the guy just said earlier. The spacecraft does not care if you're a man or a woman. What it comes down to is, do you want to be a part of something positive and greater than yourself? And so I feel like, sometimes focusing too much on all the things that divide us is a problem. We need to focus more on what unites us. And that's what I do love about space. And by the way, that's what I love about your artwork too.
Thank you. That was very nice. Okay, Jos, would you like to add something to what colleague says?
Yeah, I'm also American, and
okay.
Yeah, we it's dark times. We put 2 women up against this guy who is, one of maybe the worst misogynists that we've seen in American politics, at least my lifetime, and.
Is it a good time to talk about equality?
I think it's always a good time to talk about equality. I think that, like what you're saying, we need to embrace jujitsu as a resistance instead of just resistance. I think there's a lot of thinking about how to be more clever in the way that we try to subvert the backlash. And really, this is backlash against progress that women have made. We're excelling across the board, and so that will continue, and that's important. And in addition, I think you're right. We need to think about more clever ways at having these kinds of conversations.
Oh, I'm glad that you're positive. I'm also positive in the sense that obviously, women empowerment and women's rights are so important right now, and mainstream politics, because they are mainstream politics. So the politics is about women's rights, especially in the United States in the last couple of years, but also here in Europe. So there used, in all human history, when there was a social change, there was always a backlash. And it is natural that societies change that way. And somebody says that European Union is an organism that is growing and evolving through crises. And it's also true, and there's a beauty in it. So where there's crisis, we are solving the crisis. And we stronger by it, and we wiser by it. We learn on it. So I think we have to be like together, stay focused, like calm also. And I remember this morning there was Director General of WTO here receiving an award, and she said, you know, in Davos, everybody asking me, why am I not nervous and why am I not panicking? I said, chill down, you know, focus on what's important, and we have a work to do. We have organization. There's a big, you know, it's a big globe to run. So yeah, I was going to be a little bit provocative at the beginning to wake you up a bit. And let's talk about creative economy. First of all, I would like you to have like 1 minute to talk about yourself so the audience know what you do and who you are.
So my name is Joss. I'm a video journalist. I focus on science and tech. I have a YouTube channel called Howtown, which is just about 6 months old, where we do explainer videos. And before this, I spent 9 years at a news website called Vox.com, making videos for them.
Thank you, Myra.
I'm Mara Genovese. I'm the CEO and founder of MG Empower. I am from Brazil, but I've been living in London for 20 years, and I started the agency 10 years ago. When I arrived in London, I'm still an immigrant, and I didn't speak English, I didn't know anyone, didn't understand about the culture, and here I am today at Davos, and representing women. My business today is 60% women, 40% men, and I want to increase that. And yes, that's who I am.
Thank you, thank you. Oksana, you're Polish, obviously. I heard your accent. You can't hide it from another Pole.
I'm actually very proud to still keep my accent, even though my children tease me always, Mom. So I actually lived 25 years in London, but indeed I feel and I'm very Polish. So I'm a recovering banker. I spent 20 years in finance, working for international banks. I actually ended up being a deputy CEO of the biggest Polish bank, only female on the boards, of course, even though it's changing. And really, I left a few years ago to lead, I call it portfolio life. I'm now using a lot of creativity. I've always been involved in art, so I'm an artist, movie producer. I did a movie on nuclear energy with Oliver Stone, working on a second one. And also an advisor and a board member of companies that are setting future trends. So be it AI, nuclear energy, and also democratization of well-being.
Thank you. Christina, you said some stuff already, but tell you about yourself.
Well, before astronauts, I was a professional singer. I toured all over the world. I sang on Ringo Starr records. I had a rock star lifestyle. And then I needed a break and wanted a quiet, boring life and went to work for Buzz Aldrin. And I did not know what I was getting myself into, but I saw very quickly that my creative background was just what was needed to try to project an iconic man who walked on the moon who was obsessed with Mars missions. So I produced many, many projects, virtual reality experiences, books. I know more about Mars than I ever wanted to know my whole life. You want to know? Come talk to me. I know a lot about lunar infrastructure. But what I also learned, and I think it's helpful for people to know, and the young lady that was here earlier, is pretty much every astronaut I know and anyone who works at NASA is also an artist.
Super.
Is also an artist and does something creative. And so I say this because I do giant art projects all over the world now with astronauts. And so.
Okay, I'm gonna be really a fire child looking at the clock, and we have the Swiss time. So Swiss time. So we are pushing forward. Tell me. Your leaders or work, CEOs and entrepreneurs and creators in the creative industry, way one or the other, very different. And the media industry is changing rapidly. We are actually in the middle of another phase of the revolution, because we had the online revolution, then we have platform revolution, now AI revolution. So what is it that you like about it? What is it that you hate about it right now?
Well, I can just speak from the creator's perspective. The barriers to entry are on the floor. The gatekeepers are dead. And I think that's a great thing for women and girls, especially in short form video formats. We're seeing a huge amount of creativity, and not just young women. I see women of all ages posting on TikTok. They're funny, they're personable, they're smart, and I think that that's having a huge impact on the culture. The downside is that you trade the gatekeepers for the algorithm. And so you are trying to make a living in this weird economy where you need to get a certain number of clicks in order to get sponsors, and that can be a difficult environment, especially on platforms like the platform that I focus on, YouTube, where 80% of my audience is men. And so I would love to change that.
Super, thank you. How about technological change? How it impacts your work?
Yeah, I think like the good thing about it, like the positive, is that, you know, I worked a lot with creators like you, and we see as an agency, creative agency, the platform, especially the social media platform, for creators to use their voice. So using their voice, creating storytelling that we can empower gender equality, because as you beautifully said, so on TikTok, for example, people say whatever they want to say, so we have a chance to...
Only for 90 days.
Yes, only for 90 days now. So there is a culture relevance and culture change opportunity in there, right? That's the beauty of social media and advertising, the media opportunity of us having so many channels. So I think the downside with... we need to be more careful now moving forward and do our part, as you said, to bring in solutions, is the change that Mark just did at Meta, right? That there is no more censorship, so you can create and post anything you like. And I think that's where we, especially creators and marketeers and creative like ours, and understand what the impact will be, because at the moment that you can share anything without having a filter, then this can imply on us continue to progress, you know, as we are progressing to the gender equality.
Roxana, what is your artist perspective on this technological moment and revolution?
I love it. I think there is artists in all of us, in everyone. I had the pleasure of creating a course at Stanford called Redefining Human Creativity in the Era of AI. And it's a very interactive course when we co-create using music, and really now we know the content could be created now. You know, it's almost scary, and the movie, everything could be done. But there's one thing, is this authenticity and being human. It really, that's something that still cannot be taken away. So I love that, actually.
Christina, your thoughts about technology and creative industry?
I do not want AI making art, personally. I'd really like AI just to do my laundry and, you know, do stuff like that, and let us create art, frankly.
Thank you.
I do a lot of eco-friendly artworks with kids and hands-on, and I think, you know, letting people, reminding us of our humanity and what we can actually do, and let the technology do the other stuff for us.
Thank you
I'm a
for
big fan
that.
of
Thank you. Your hope at the end of the tunnel for journalists also and creators. Okay, you guys, we already laid, but I want to listen each of you with the message to this audience. What would you like us to leave tonight with, like your message to World Women Davos Agenda?
Who's the audience? I don't know who you all are.
YouTube audience also, so anybody can listen to us. I mean, we are on a women's focus conference in the middle of Davos, when all the important people, movers and shakers, economists, politicians, female politicians obviously too, big companies, they are here to shape the world for the next years. So we have a voice here, so you can say whatever you want.
Okay, well, I would say it would be great to have brands that are interested in working with women. It's hard to make a living out there as a creator, and there's tons of us, you know, trying to make it in an environment that has lots of advantages for men. Just confidence is a huge advantage, and an audience that expects you to be authoritative just by looking at you is a big advantage. And so we're working against those headwinds. And then if you see content that you like from a creator, jump in the comments, say something nice, you know, give it a thumbs up. The comments can be a very upsetting place for women online, and we always appreciate that support.
Thank you. Your thoughts, Mayra?
My thought is like, let's continue to be bold. And then I think, you know, the progress that we are making is already extraordinary. I think there's a lot for us to still to be done, and we can only continue to progress if there is a collaboration. But when I say collaboration, it comes to gender equality, and I'll just talk about women together, but like how many men is in the room here? So why we cannot continue to do progress, but add everything in the room? I think I love what you said about the elephants and the giraffes and the zebras. So I think that's the beauty, is like when we come together to collaborate together. As I said, I am from Brazil. I've moved to London when I was 24, and I started my business without no funding. And then people always say to me, you're a woman, you're not gonna make it, go back to Brazil because you're never even gonna get funded to start your business. So here I am, it's been a long journey, but let's continue to be bold and collaborate together, because I think, when they're together collaborating, we can continue to thrive.
Thank you. Oksana, 1 minute.
Okay, very brief one. So to me, the being authentic to yourself, being true to yourself and passing it on the authentic leadership, and really to heal the world, we need to start with ourselves, like this sculpture in front, and we can piece it together with kintsugi.
Thank you so quickly and so briefly and so beautifully. Christina, your time for a message.
Okay. My mission is to connect the space curious to the space serious, and I do that using art. And I just really want people to understand that those of us who already work in space, almost everybody is creative. And so we really want to promote that we don't just need a STEM workforce. We need people with all their skills, all their talents. We want whole brain, with all your brain coming to the table. So just to think about that, a lot of times people think that only if they're good at science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, that you're valuable to society. We want young people to know we need all your talents and skills. So don't discount those things and use your creative.
And not almost everyone is creative. There's creativity in everyone.
Thank you so much. Clap your hands and cheer
Thank
for
you.
those creative women. Thank you.